Oi cunts, and welcome to the first episode of a series that I am dubbing Vindictive. A series in which I explore the cancer of the varying platforms across the internet. Now, of course, that statement is quite subjective, and I'm completely open to any criticisms you may have in the comments below. And the overall goal of this series is to entertain and start a dialogue while I get to exert some excess piss and vinegar. With introductions now firmly out of the way, the supposed target of my first episode will be a little-known YouTuber by the name of Onision. Now, sarcasm aside, I'm sure you've probably heard of Greg in one way or another. And if not, allow me to briefly fill you in on his career as a content creator. Onision started his provocative channel in 2006 and has been running one of his 206 other channels for many years since. Now, to say this quickly, when I first started watching YouTube back in 2010, he was among one of the first people I watched with some form of dedication. Him being alongside PewDiePie, The Creatures, and a few others that I watched. And this was definitely Greg's heyday. We all remember a call to all those who roar XD out there. Now, you may be asking why the apparent change of heart. Well, as time makes fools of us all, I've switched from a hyperactive, ADHD-riddled 12-year-old to a depressed slob of a 19-year-old. And with that, Greg's actions and content now seem to rub me the wrong way. So let's delve into why. One thing Onision touts as being one of his traits is his brutally honest demeanor. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this disposition, but I do believe that it is a crudely constructed lie that with any sort of investigating crumbles. See that there is a difference between these two examples. I told Jeff from accounting that he was fat and that he needs to seek help for losing some weight. Or, I told Jeff from accounting that he's a fat shit that inhales something containing 200 calories or more every time he takes a breath. See that there were some very subtle differences between those two statements. One is being brutally honest, and one is being a blathering shithead. Something I believe Onision is quite proficient at being. Take any myriad of his typical shit starting and you'll find Greg making multiple videos framed in the narrative of brutal honesty. Some that span a time of multiple videos. Some more easy to list examples are his insulting and drama with fellow creator Shane Dawson and Dawson's struggle with his weight. Or his multi-video anthology on Eugenia Cooney, where he made it seem like a caring effort to help her with her anorexia. Now, while I'm not a fan of either of these YouTubers, I'd say a passive observer of his actions could see this as a step too far on his part. But not only does he serve up the supposed honesty with malice, but with absolute condescension and arrogance. And it is something you can find in any of his videos. And without delving into it much further, the simple conclusion is that he's a bully. And a shit one at that. This leads me to my second point. One thing Greg is proficient at, aside from being an absolute cunt, is manipulation. Whether it be his audience, his friends, or his wives and girlfriends. For you see, these things are nothing more than props to further his needs. A fine example is the amount of videos where he spends them drawing out his own self-made drama in his life, turning it into sweet, sweet revenue. In fact, a small up-and-coming channel's everyday postings for about 3 months couldn't match the amount of poor me videos he's made. Some examples would be his countless videos on his terrible habit of fucking up every single relationship he's in, him starting shit with other creators and then playing the victim, but I find 3 key examples up for some brief exploration. First is the wonderful example that is his attempt at getting his relationship a +1, where as you can see in these texts, his use of manipulative language and his threats to cut off communications between him and her. Pure mega boring. Ah yes. Pressure is how I like to get women to do things they don't want to. Or a more recent video where he mentions before YouTube he was planning on killing himself, and hints that if the ad boycott gets any worse he won't know what to do. But no greater example can be found than in the video he made quite some time ago. In fact, it was posted while I was still watching his channel on a regular basis. This video is Shiloh Forgot Me, in which he records his then wife Shiloh suffering from what appears to be memory lapses, where she forgets where she is and who Greg is, and it seems all he could muster was the strength to pick up a camera and point it at his suffering spouse. To me, that's some grade A content, but I digress. This is all just a small portion of his countless shitty actions and his constant cosplay as a victim. So on top of his wonderful disposition, Onision, when he's not out trying to see how much his narcissism can fuck his career, he seems to fancy himself somewhat of an activist. The two most blatant examples of this are body positivity and feminism. Now, these things aren't really bad by themselves, but when you put them in the hands of a sociopathic cunt like Greg, then they can be put to good use to get to see free pictures of girls from the age of 12 to 90 on his forum, where you can send him pics of you half naked so he can reassure you of something you should already be aware of otherwise. Or his use of feminism to bash other people for not outright believing in its values or arguing the actions of feminism. But as we all should know by now, the second that feminism no longer benefits him, he'll kick it to the curb and make 14 videos about why he did it. Really, this one needs no further explanation other than what I presented. Oh, come on. For a vegan, you sure like your tortoise well done. I mean, come on, man, that's fucking hilarious. And I guess, yeah, you started a cult at 17, so I can make some dumbass subtitle for this portion, but honestly, after everything I've said, I consider tortoise manslaughter and light cultish activities to be a bit of a side point. Rip Reptar. With all that said, I would like to say, fuck you, Greg. You vindictively vapid, odious twat. Thank you, cunts, for watching. If you enjoyed or have anything to add, feel free to do so down below.
You make me feel like a natural.